Whenever a sequel is released, there's always talk about whether or not it can live up to how great the first movie was, because by its nature, the first movie in a series is always, at least pretty good, otherwise a second movie wouldn't have been necessary. But in the case of the Gladiator movies, you had an original that won the award for Best Picture, it had a great lead who put in what was probably the best performance of his career, and it was beloved by fans. Gladiator 2 didn't just have an uphill battle, it was rock climbing up an impossible mountain face with a backpack full of rocks and a broken arm. Let's talk about it. There was no way Gladiator 2 could reach the same level of quality that the original did. But instead of just rambling about it, let's look at the character arcs of the leads from each movie. Russell Crowe as Maximus from Gladiator 1, and Paul Mescal as Lucius from Gladiator 2. First, let's look at Maximus. This line graph shows the significant events in Maximus' story, and the line only moves up if the event does something to build Maximus' character. So let's look at each event. First, his family dies and he becomes a slave. Since these are just establishing the base of his character and where his character starts, I started these at 1. 2, when he fights in the arena, he is learning about how to be successful in the arena. There are ongoing discussions about strategy that he later implements. 3, he makes friends. This is important because it is his ability to make friends that both help him survive in the arena and help him to gain insights on the Colosseum later in the movie. 4, he listens to Proximo. Proximo gave him a very deliberate strategy: win the crowd, which Maximus does his best to implement so that he can use their influence to help in the Colosseum. 5, he reveals his identity. This moment is more about a mid-movie turning point and less about his developments. This is the moment that he had been waiting for to confront the one who betrayed him. So that's why this moment, while significant, is not a step up. But the second half then shifts to this new narrative of how he will get his revenge now that he has revealed his identity. 6, he fights Tigris. Tigris was undefeated in the arena up to this point and ended up losing to Maximus. Also, Maximus defies Commodus by refusing to kill Tigris, even though Commodus told Maximus to kill him. 7, he meets Gracchus, who agrees to help him escape, and there's a lot of political whisperings going on at this point. 8, Maximus gets captured, which is the setup to a climax. A dash of hope for our hero before the final battle. 9, then he fights Commodus, and he kills Commodus, using his superior skill in the ring even though Commodus stabbed him before the battle began. And then 10, he dies paying the ultimate sacrifice for his journey. Almost every major event in the story was in some way building Maximus' character. It all had meaning. So let's compare that with Lucius' journey. 1, Lucius' journey begins with his wife dying and he is captured. 2, he has to fight some monkeys in the arena, and even though he won and showed his skill in the arena, the fight was over quickly, and it could have been developed better or shown more. 3, then Lucius fights Vigo, and this was more about letting Denzel Washington's character, Maximus, see how well Lucius fights. So there wasn't a lot of development for Lucius's character. 4, he fights at dinner. Again, this scene was more about spectacle than development. People were trying to show how well Lucius could fight. 5, he fights a rhino in the Colosseum. This didn't really accomplish much because the fight was quick and it didn't show any new skill from Lucius. 6, fights on sharks, which again was just for show. No real development. 7, then he fought General Acacius, which was good because he learned that Acacius was not his real enemy, and he also defied leadership and refused to kill Acacius. And Lucius then also gained the victory. 8, then he asks Ravi to present the ring to get backup infantry from Acacius' legions, which was completely random. 9, then Lucius fights and defeats Maximus, which, of course, was going to happen. 10, then Lucius reveals his status as heir to the throne, and, of course, he wins everything. Now, I know that there was a subplot with Maximus rising in power, but this was supposed to be a gladiator movie, not a Roman politics movie. And that subplot didn't really serve or add much to what was supposed to be the main plot. But the biggest issue was that Gladiator 2 spent far too much time trying to emulate Gladiator 1 than it was trying to be its own movie. Here are a number of parallels between Maximus and Lucius and their journeys, but one that is not listed here but is still of significance for their characters is that Maximus paid the ultimate sacrifice and died at the end. In Lucius's journey, other people paid that sacrifice while he killed someone who was near retirement. The journeys of the two main characters were just too different in their developments, and there was too much going on in Gladiator 2 for it to be as successful as Gladiator 1. But there still might be people who enjoyed Gladiator 2. If you think the key to a military victory is declaring wedding vows before an invasion, you might like this movie. If you saw Planet of the Apes and thought, when are we going to get Planet of the Gladiator Apes with Monkeus Aurelius? You might like this movie. If you have ever seen an award-winning movie and thought, this movie would have been better if there were more sharks, you might like this movie. If you have ever wondered what a Roman dialogue would sound like with a New York accent and a modern British accent, you might like this movie. If you have ever looked at a killer rhinoceros and thought, I could probably kill that rhino if I just played chicken with it, you might like this movie. If you have watched all 3 TV series, all 4 movies, and all the Corona Extra commercials in which Pedro Pascal has acted in the last year and a half, and thought, I can't wait to see Pedro Pascal again, you might like this movie. If you have ever looked at a wolf and thought, I wonder if that wolf could nurse children, and then you thought, they should put a story about a wolf that nurses humans in a movie, you might like this movie. If you have ever wanted to see a Roman period piece where a dignitary is wearing a WWE Championship belt, you might like this movie. But those are just my thoughts on the movie. Let me know what you thought of Gladiator 2 in the comments, and we'll see you next time.